It's the Football Prophets.
What's up today, FE family? Welcome to a new episode of Football Prophets, where two friends talk about things American soccer. I'm your host, Michelle. I'm here with Coach David Johnson. How you doing today, my guy?
I'm doing well, Michelle. I'm a little distracted today, so you might have to do more talking than usual because I'm watching the Sounders play at this moment since we're recording late again.
Yeah.
I guess technically it's early for us, and we usually record Sunday mornings, but we're recording Saturday night tonight.
Yeah. All this is because we love you guys. Trying to get you guys the content as fast as possible.
Jordan Morris just put a header over the crossbar.
Did he score?
No, over the crossbar. You gotta go under the crossbar. That's how it's under.
Wait.
There's this rectangle, and you gotta put it in the rectangle.
Not over.
Not over, not to the right, not to the left. It would be impressive going under, but in the rectangle.
Over doesn't count as a goal?
No.
Jeez.
Wrong football.
Alright, awesome. We have some good content here. We're just gonna dive into it, Coach, here, if you don't mind. We were just watching this game in Toronto. They won today.
They did.
They won. I believe that was the final score.
Yes.
Against DC.
Yeah. And they looked good. They looked really good.
It looks good. Benteke scored, my guy. So that's what we have a game, right? Benteke is my team. So
No, you never drafted her.
I never drafted Benteke.
No. We'll update the player draft here. We have that in the rundown. We'll go over our player draft game that we're doing. Yeah, you didn't draft it very good.
Alright, so that's the best news Toronto's got.
So they scored twice. They didn't blow the lead. They almost did. I mean, Benteke they made it down to one goal in the 87th minute. But they played well, right? They did it in controversial style. Bernardeschi has been benched. Wasn't even benched. He wasn't on the bench. He was completely cut from the first team squad this game. And Insigne ended up getting the captain's armband over Bradley, who's been having it. All this is kind of secondary side notes because drama has happened in Toronto recently. Essentially, the Italians, that's Bernardeschi and Insigne, their two highest paid players on roster, are not happy with how practices are happening, relationship between coaches and players in the locker room. Bernardeschi straight up just said there needs to be a change in the coaching position, which is a bold thing to say mid-season. Especially when you yourself haven't been playing lights out. He's been playing all right, but you haven't been playing phenomenally. And with that, it made reporters think there might be a story here. So Tom Bogert decided to do a little deep dive in, got some quote from people, anonymous sources and whatnot, and it went deep. Bernardeschi and Insigne very clearly accused head coach Bob Bradley, who has a son who is a very good player, a little past his prime, on this team also. So instead of just going back and forth trying to figure out which Bradley I'm talking about, if I say Bob, I'm talking about the head coach. If I say Bradley, I'm talking about the player. All right. So Bob clearly has favoritism over some of the players. Those players include Bradley, his son, and Mark Anthony Kay, who Insigne said is his second son. Apparently Kay came to the defense of Bradley when the Italians were talking about favoritism in the locker room, and one of the Italians told him to shut up. He's your dad too, essentially was what the quote was. So not a lot of vibe in there. So former players who got out of Toronto recently apparently anonymously have spoken about how bad it is in Toronto, saying it's the worst locker room they've ever been in. It's a nightmare. One person said it's an effing joke. Just not what you want to hear from an organization that is spending more money on salary than any other team in MLS, right? When you're just dropping money on players left, right, and center, but you don't care how it's unified, that's a problem, right? The other big issue here is apparently Bernardeschi and Insigne, the two highest paid players, the Italians, they don't actually like each other. They never liked each other. They apparently have some little beef going way back. They don't like each other.
Yeah.
And then you're just like, these two guys, I'm going to put them on a team together, see how that goes. No thinking there. And it's evident because your two highest paid players, when they're on the field together, useless. The only time you've seen either Insigne or Bernardeschi be good this season is when one played and the other was out, right? For the most part, that was Bernardeschi playing when Insigne was injured. Now, Bernardeschi's benched and Insigne's got the captain's armband playing, right? And Insigne played very well today. But it's really concerning when you can't have your two highest paid players play together. That's not good.
I was going to say, you think Insigne was like, let's do it for Dad.
So it's rough right now in Toronto. They sit second bottom of the Eastern Conference. I mean, last season wasn't good for them, but we expected them to make big leaps and strides.
Yeah, I was going to say this is probably the most loudest story that we're getting here out of Toronto this year, because they quite frankly suck.
They do, and they shouldn't. They brought in a top 3 goalkeeper in the league. They brought in a top 3 center back in the league that should have shored up their defense enough. They have 2 of the highest paid players in the league, like literal world-known names.
No.
We're not talking about Thiago Almada, who is a great player in this league, but honestly, before he came to MLS, you never heard his name, right? Bernardeschi and Insigne, everyone knows their name.
Yeah.
Right?
So
you have superstars on this team. You have Bradley, the player, who used to be the captain for the U.S. men's national team on this team, right? Like, you have league veterans all over the place. You should have a very good team, but as Matt Hedges says, the vibes are bad. And he said that in an interview after a win tonight. You would hope after a win, your veteran center back would come and be like, there's a lot going on in the media, but we're a good unit. We really like each other. We're getting along well. We're going to turn the season around. But his response was, the vibes are bad. Like, that's not a good sign. That's not good.
So I was going to ask that, is like, why on a team with so many veterans that can kind of, because you started even talking about the goalie Sean Johnson. There's some really...
Sean Johnson, by the way, played very well this game. He had like 3 saves that should have been guaranteed goals.
Yeah.
He played, this is probably the best game I've seen him play.
So there's some like well-known and big-name veterans that should be able to either calm this or navigate through this well with the coach. Why do you think it's so public? It is public. Like, they're not hiding it. They're talking about it. They're not giving the the proper answer that there's vibe, but we won't let it let it simmer. It's football. Egos get in the way. Whatever the good thing to say is, they're not saying that. They're just going straight to the point. Like, what do you think? Do you think there's an agenda? Do you think they're really trying to have something done? Maybe remove the coach, or what kind of action do you think they're looking for? Because this is my first time seeing it where, like, in an interview after a game, like, a veteran is addressing it like that. Like, there's bad vibes. Yeah.
I don't think there's an agenda, at least from Hedges. I don't think there's very clearly, like, Insigne and Bernardeschi doing post-match conferences, just straight up saying there needs to be a change in the coaching positions.
Yeah.
That has an agenda. That very clearly has an agenda. Last season, at the end of last season, Insigne said, I will not play if Bradley is still on the team. Right? Like, that's clearly an agenda, right? Which apparently was a lie because he's playing and Bradley's still on the team. But there's clearly issues with the two new Italian imports. I don't see Matt Hedges going at any one person with his comments, right? I see his just kind of being as the team as a whole. So that's why I don't think he necessarily has an agenda here. But regardless of the why, the what is the important thing, right? And the what is bad vibes.
Yeah.
And a team, I've been on plenty of teams where you hated the guy you sat next to.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you just hated half the team.
Hate is...
I've been on teams where I literally disliked so many of my teammates,
yeah,
and they didn't like me, and like there was a lot of divide, and players had beef all over the place. But we stepped on the field and we won games, right? We won and won and won.
Yeah.
And nobody cares if you like each other. As long as you're winning, you're happy. But now you have a locker room that clearly doesn't like each other, and they're losing after losing after losing.
And I didn't see the win effects. You know, like the win effects where you see too many happy players.
No.
I saw that a calm player that was like, I didn't see the win effects.
No,
it's
no.
like, yeah. But hey, but before we move on, who do you think wins, the Italian or the rugby player?
The Italians, money speaks. They're gonna. You don't pay them that much money if you're the president or owner of the team, because coaches. My favorite saying, I can't remember what coach it was. I can't remember what it was. A European-based coach, but his quote is, "Coaches are hired to be fired." Right?
Yeah.
Like, coaches come and go all the time. So if push comes to shove and the Italians literally say, "Yeah, we know this is done," it's done.
Yeah.
Bob is gone. Bradley will probably not get a contract or something because he's at the end of his career anyways.
Yeah.
The big money players have shown influence. Like, they have shown to be very good at times, at spurts, right? But yeah, money will talk.
Money will talk. All right, let's get with that. All right, cool. Let's leave that as is and move on to something else serious. So, the most entertaining team in the MLS, and I guess we need to know why is it Chicago, because that's who it is right now.
Yeah. So
why is it Chicago?
Chicago.
Keep me, just keep going.
Hey, tilt your computer because you got some on your.
Yeah, I'll do that.
All right, but that's the second time Shay's spilled that water today. It's he's rough tonight. These late nights get to us. But Chicago is wild. If you look at some of their games this season, you got massive lead changes, right? Last minute goals to tie up a game or win a game. You have just big score lines, right?
Mm-hmm.
So today's game, they played New England Revolution in New England. Tough place to go, right? Especially when you're not a great team. 3-3 tie.
Saw it.
Right? Last game week, they played Atlanta, a very good team. 3-3 tie. Right? That's literally 12 goals in their last 2 MLS games. Just wild. Their defense isn't great, so they've had a 3-0 game against Nashville. They've had multiple red cards throughout this season. They had a 2-2 tie against Philadelphia, another great game in which they won the lead, right? They're both losing 8,000 hours Luka. They won about twice in this game. Twice they went up 2-0, and then they get 2-2, and then they went up 3-0, 3-3. They came out getting better. See Chicago in the lead. You see there's a goal like a complaint of the team. So we're about to get on the end in there and see where you see that goal. You folks, yes, say there's giving you some old odds and I had that you go right. Another case in Saturday in Chicago. The way you said we tied. Yeah. Then the week after that they played Miami
in Miami and won 3-2. So they're probably dealing with Chicago. Was like they're like sometimes they're like saying it all these Chicago schools, and then sometimes you're like, oh, I'm good. Just saying that's how they're tired. Not that you like that, but I guess you don't like the game except that he had to leave. That's something that I think just good or not, or you're not good. Well, exactly is it with so 14 games into the season, they have scored 4 more goals and are not wanting 4 goals. In their 14 games, there have been 45 goals scored. In the 14 games that before and got higher goals scored. Like, these days, this is ridiculous. Like their average is so much higher than the MLS average. Yeah, it almost dials for game. Yeah, it's kind of stuff in Chicago. You know, it's like I was a Chicago fan of be 80 and you got to archive every single week. It would be miserable because you know, as soon as you get people to leave, you shouldn't feel comfortable. But now you're I can't wait to see how we lose. After we're out almost all the game.
Yeah, it's wild in Chicago, but if you're a casual fan of the league, Chicago is a good team to get you interested. Or if you have friends that you like think soccer's boring, just show them some Chicago highlights. It'll be alright.
Aren't they the one who had like the most red card in one game or something? Was it them or was it something I think it was another team?
I don't know if they had the most, but they had a game recently that had I think like 4 red cards in it.
Yeah, I think that.
But it wasn't just them.
Yeah. Alright, awesome. Cool. Well, that is that. So Zarda. Let's talk about him for a second.
Gyasi Zardes.
Yeah, let's talk about him for a second here. Seems like he's in form a little bit.
He is. So
he scored today, right?
He scored today. This is his 3rd MLS game in a row in which he scored. It's also only his 3rd goal of the season so far. They brought him in to partner with Driussi, the very expensive 10, false 9, whatever you want to call him. And when they've played together on field, it's been bad.
It's just horrible.
Which is something you and me thought coming in, bringing in a good number 9, proven number 9 in this league, like Gyasi Zardes would be good because it would take pressure off of Driussi, yeah. And so we thought that would be good, but then when you really analyze it, you realize Driussi is a goal-scoring 10, right? Which is why a lot of people call him a false 9, but he scores goals, right? That's his best attribute is goal scoring. Gyasi Zardes' best attribute is goal scoring, and they score the same type of goal.
I think
right. They don't complement each other. They need to get into the same positions as each other to score goals, which means they occupy the same space as each other. So you might as well just be playing down a man, right?
Yeah.
So on field so far this year, it hasn't worked for them. It just hasn't. There is a chance that both of them are experienced players. Both of them are very intelligent players. Mm-hmm. There's a good chance that they'll be able to figure it out. Seattle just scored one up. Jordan Morris, he put that in the rectangle this time.
You put it in the rectangle. Jordan Morris back scoring again.
Yeah.
You think they're going to sit him down again?
I don't know. It's a mess with injuries right now. But we'll see. I don't think he'll ever sit down. I think he'll go back to the left. But that's a conversation for another time. Gyasi Zardes, man of the moment right now.
He almost got carried away there.
Yeah.
Also, he broke that 100 goal.
Yeah. So
give him props.
He is the 13th player in MLS history to score 100 goals in MLS regular season. We just talked about Joseph Martinez hitting the 100-goal mark. Joseph Martinez is the fastest player to ever do it. But Gyasi Zardes does get on that 100-goal list. If he continues to play the way he's been playing in the last 3 games, he will probably crack the top 10. I think he has to score 4 more goals to tie at 10, 5 more goals to hold 10th of them.
Wow.
So I think he'll probably get there at the end of the season. Again, we're like not even halfway through the regular season right now, a little over a third of the way through.
Yeah.
He's just now starting to find form. Oh no, Jordan Morris just pulled his groin. This has been a rough 5 minutes for Jordan Morris.
Oh, is he scored and pulled his grind?
Yeah. Oh no, he's saying he needs a sub. This isn't good.
Oh, no way.
But back to Giassi.
I've just this horrible news for you.
This should be a great moment for us talking about Giassi Zardes, and I just keep interrupting on Jordan Morris. I think it was time. Just Jordan Morris.
Yeah. We're so sorry, sir.
Still be all right. Where were we? Oh yeah, I think he'll break into the top 10 goal scorers in MLS history this season. He's not young, but he's not old either. He's 31, right? If we're looking at Kai Kamara, who's still putting the ball in the net at 38, Giassi, who knows? Maybe he'll play till he's 45 and become the leading goal scorer all time in MLS. Who knows? Probably not. But it's good to see one of my favorite players in this league start to hit back in his form. But the thing I think when I got distracted by Jordan Morris's goal in the first place, we were going to bring up that he is now hitting this form because Driussi is out injured, right? Like, yes, it's really good that he's hitting for me, he's putting the ball in the net, and they have that person to do it now. But I really hope that we don't end up just seeing Giassi be the backup when all players come back healthy, right? I hope they can figure out a way to get Giassi and Driussi playing together in rhythm and as a unit, and not just it's either or here, right? Because in that case, Zardes is going to fall off the cliff because they pay Driussi too much money. And Driussi is a legitimate, when he is firing at all cylinders and healthy, he is a legitimate MLS MVP candidate.
Yeah, so you're not getting that.
You're not going to bench him.
Yeah.
So hopefully they can figure out to get those two players playing together.
Yeah. No, they should look into that one. But all right, that's so Houston and Austin play today. Apparently, Copa, you're gonna have to help me say this. So this is their derby name, right?
So kind of, it's a three-way derby between the three Texas teams, right? So you have Austin, Houston, Dallas.
Okay. What's it called?
Copa Tejas.
Tejas. Okay.
And essentially, whoever does the best over the course of the games that they play each other, not overall season, but the games that they play each other, whoever does the best in those wins the Copa Tejas.
Actual.
There's a trophy.
Isn't it?
I mean, it's just for the three of them, so it's not like a league certified trophy, but there is a trophy. There's a website for this too. You can look it up. I think you just got to Google the
best Texas team.
And they have there's USL teams that have Texas ties too. So they have a first division Copa Tejas and a second division Copa Tejas, which is really cool.
Yeah.
That they do it for the lower league rivalries too. So I like that. That's something I really like to see in Copa Tejas that you don't see in, say, the Cascadia Cups or the Rocky Mountain Derbies or the Hudson River Derbies. You don't see that go to the lower leagues. So I think that's a really cool factor that they had two different divisions of Copa Tejas.
That's what it feels like now.
I like that. But going to the game itself, that one ended with Houston winning over Austin 2-1. So again, Giassi scored in the game for Austin. He put them up to make it 1-0 early on in the game. But Austin have been in shambles defensively this season. And when you let Houston, who really don't have a true goal scorer, score 2 goals on you after you should be having the confidence and the belief going up early in a game, you should be able to figure that out. When you let Houston do it in a derby match to you, that's not a good sign.
Yeah.
Not that Houston are bad, they just don't have a true goal scorer.
I mean, Austin is not that great at it.
No, well, they were last year, but this year...
Yeah, we talking about the president, man.
The point is, they should be better. They should be better.
Good last year, but they not do. All right. Cool. So there's some MLS draft update that you got for us, Coach.
Yeah, let me pull up my...
Go ahead and give us an overview. Yeah.
So...
Get a whole Excel sheet.
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
So the MLS Players Draft is a game that we invented where essentially you pick 5 players, and there's some rules to how you pick the players. You can't pick players from the same team. Huh?
Am I losing?
Yeah.
We have to do this.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go.
So essentially, you get 5 players, and if a player scores a goal in a game week, you get 2 points. If they get an assist, you get 1 point, right? If the team that player plays for wins a trophy, you get 5 points added on at the end of the season. So currently, into game week 14, I'm sat at 63 points, and Mache here sat at 36 points.
That's bad, man.
It's rough, and it's rough to the point where I'm thinking, should we amend this and give you a chance to drop a player to pick up a player?
Yes.
And now I'm wondering, though, is that fair, or should it be drop 2 players and you can pick 1 player, but you get all the goals that player's already scored this season? So, like, if you wanted to, you could get like a Giacomakis, but you'd have to drop 2 players, so you play down a man for the rest of the season.
Do I have to do it like now on camera?
I think we can do it next episode.
Next episode.
We'll give you a week to think about it.
There you go. Drop 2 again. So I'll be a player down.
You'll be a player down for the rest of the season, but you do get all the production that player that you picked up has had and will have.
I'm gonna have to.
It's a time to readjust. You see, I think you have at least 1 player. Marky Delgado, he has not gotten you a single point this entire season.
Nothing.
He's played every game, but he hasn't gotten you a single point, dude. So Marky Delgado is definitely when you're going to drop. Gomez, I think, only has 2 points for you.
The goals, the rules were just, with the nationality, they were just a little tricky, but yeah. That's where I'm at. Well, I'm losing very badly.
Very badly.
I'm ashamed. Alright, well, let's stop here.
Yeah, I'm not. I just needed a moment to let people know that I'm the smartest person in the room. I just need that validation. I don't get that from home, so I need it to come through the listeners in this podcast. So I feel good.
You were right.
My pride, my ego is. This has been petted, so I feel good right now.
You did good. You did good. Let's put it that way.
Thank you. All right, I'm gonna get a trophy made for myself.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's not go that far. All right, we'll stop.